Looking back on how I grew up on a small ranch with a cattle operation, I knew what it was like for a dad to have an agriculture-based job. I knew what it was like to be an ag kid. There was a lot of hard work. My dad used to pay us a nickel if we filled a molasses tub, like the one I'm sitting on, full of thistles from the field. We did get him up to a quarter at one point. But his general thought was, you live here, you work here, this is part of the family, you know? We have one daughter, Samantha. She's now 9 years old. Sometimes people feel sorry for Jim because he doesn't have a boy, and they're like, oh, you're not gonna have anyone to leave the farm to. There's no reason she can't farm it. I think women's role in agriculture is evolving. So if she wants to come back and farm, she'll be more than able to. And I think that's probably different than a generation or two before. Beeville is in South Texas. It's south of San Antonio, and we're about 60 miles from the coast. Here we farm multiple different soil types. My husband and I farm about 4,500 acres. We do not own anywhere close to all of that. We own a couple hundred acres. So we rely heavily on good relationships with our landowners. We're planning a meal in the field. What we normally do are things that can be handheld. So these are jalapeno poppers. More garlic powder. I feel like my role on our family farm is a lot like most women's in that I wear multiple hats, just like most moms do. One way I help is to essentially be a taxi service and help them move from one place to another. Granddad, you want sweet tea?
Sure.
I bring food to the farm and give the guys a break during harvest. I help with advocacy, even speak at some events to try to help those that maybe did not grow up farming to know more about where their food and where their fiber comes from. Our goal on our family farm is to be able to continue the legacy that Jim's families on both sides have set, to be a family farm and to leave that to the next generation if they want it. To have a family farm that provides safe, quality, affordable food with the values of honesty, integrity, and hard work.
My granddad farmed about 800 acres, sent 3 children to college on that 800 acres. I'm Jim Shugaric. We're harvesting our last field of corn today. Today it's taking 4,000, 4,500 acres just to support one family. It's a huge difference than even 30 years ago. It just takes so much, and if any little hiccup, anything goes wrong, we have a well go down. It's a major problem. You're just operating on such thin margins. Well, some of those thin margins is reasons we're looking for new approaches to farming this land. About 10 years ago, we started partnering with the NRCS to try to implement some strip till on our tougher land. And what we're trying to do is retain as much of our, we call it trash, it's all the leftover residue, to cover the soil just like you would in a flower bed. So by cost sharing a newer practice like strip till, we are able to leave as much of this corn stubble on the left as we can. Without that stubble, without that trash, the whole field could get eaten up by one sandstorm.
NRCS comes in and educate us on things that maybe they haven't been tried in our area.
With the NRCS, 2 years ago, we did an EQIP contract to cross fence this place and also add water.
As risky as farming is already, and if we're looking at commodity prices that are not good, we may not feel comfortable making that leap. They'll come in and say, let us pay for part of it, you pay for part of it. It's almost, I feel like doing a research project at school. They want you to keep good records and things like that so that they can then take that and show other farmers this is working, or this isn't the best way to go. For farmers to continue to be a farm family, they have to evolve with the times. Farmers are smart. Most of them have degrees, and they can be very good at planting a seed. But if they're not doing all of the rest, researched, keeping up with technology and innovative practices like NRCS helps us with, they're not going to be sustainable. They're not going to be able to leave that farm to their daughter or their son if they're not keeping up with everything else that goes with farming.